Here at Unity, we greet you in the name of all that is beautiful and sacred, where we embrace all spiritual paths that teach love. Unity offers a positive path for spiritual living to support people in expressing their divine purpose. Unity welcomes people of every creed, color, ethnicity, age, socioeconomic background, spiritual orientation, but actually it says sexual orientation, and people with disabilities. Unity leaves no one out. We also like to say you're not here by accident, but you're here by divine appointment, and we're happy that you kept your appointment with us today.
Hello, everybody. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Debbie Wheeler-Ewer. And I'm here this morning because Reverend Margaret was not feeling well on Friday. And she sent me an email and said, help. So I took a big breath and I said, okay. Because I told myself this is the year of saying yes when you're terrified. But this being this place and this being all of you, this is not a place to be afraid. This is a place to be loved and to be cherished. And so it was with an honor and with great pride that I allow myself to share with you this morning. On my way here for first service, I was lost on the toll road. How do you get lost on the toll road? That is the biggest question of life. I got off in El Toro, and then I read my directions and said, oh, it was Glenwood. Okay, well, I'll just get back on. Well, when I got back on the freeway on El Toro, I'd already passed Glenwood. So I ended up in San Juan Capistrano. And then I'm thinking to myself, what? And I get off the freeway, and I'm racking up toll charges, beeping all the way through. Anyway, thanks to Rob and Lou, especially Lou, I finally made it here. So you were lost to me, but actually I was lost, and I found my way. But this is Memorial Day, and I'd like to share with you my thoughts on that and what it means to me. It's a poem by Kelly Strong. I watched the flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so proud, so tall. He'd stand out in any crowd. I thought of how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears, how many pilots' planes shot down, and how many died at sea, how many foxholes were soldiers' graves. No, freedom isn't free. I heard the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen, when a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea, of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom isn't free. When my father was born, his father was in France serving in the army. When my father met my mother, he was serving in the army in World War II. And when I was a teenager, still in high school, my brother went to Vietnam. So needless to say, Memorial Day is an important time for me. I remember as a child going up to my grandfather's house, the sink in the big enclosed back porch would be filled with flowers. This was Memorial Day, Decoration Day, the day we decorated the graves of the fallen men and women of the armed services, and a day we also decorated the graves of our many family members resting there. For me, it's not a day to shop for mattresses at the blowout mattress sale. It's not a day to get a great deal on a new car or a day to realize that the neighborhood swimming pool is now open for the summer. Rather, Memorial Day is a sacred day of remembrance, a day to remember all of our loved ones, but originally and especially, a day filled with gratitude for those men and women in the armed forces, many of whom have given the ultimate sacrifice so that all of us can love, worship, speak, and live in freedom. It's a day to remember that indeed our way of life here in the United States isn't free. And are there any veterans out there? If there are, would you please stand? We'd like to thank you now. Or raise a hand or say something. Thank you. Thank you very much. I had a cup of coffee, real coffee, before I started speaking. I should never do that because I speak really fast, so bear with me. But let's remember that it's the veteran, not the preacher, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to assemble. It's the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial, and the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. From Camp Clark, Washington, on July 14th, 1861, Sullivan Ballou shared the feelings that cloak the heart of a veteran in this letter to his wife, Sarah. He writes, "My very dear Sarah, the indications are very strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Lest I should not be able to write again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I shall be no more. I have no misgivings about or lack of confidence in the cause in which I am engaged, and my courage does not halt or falter. I know how strongly American civilization now leans on the triumph of the government, and how great a debt we owe to those who went before us through the blood and suffering of the Revolution. And I am willing, perfectly willing, to lay down all my joys in this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt. Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence could break. And yet my love of this country comes over me like a strong wind and bears me unresistably on to the battlefield. The memories of the blissful moments I have spent with you come creeping over me, and I feel most grateful to God and to you that I have enjoyed them so long. It's hard for me to give them up and burn to ashes the hopes and future years when, God willing, we might have lived and loved together and seen our sons grown up in honorable manhood. I have but few and small claims upon divine providence, but something whispers to me, perhaps it is the wafted prayer of my little Edgar, that I shall return to my loved ones unharmed. If I do not, my dear Sarah, never forget how much I love you, and when my last breath escapes me on the battlefield, it will whisper your name. Forgive my many faults and the many pains I have caused you. How thoughtless and foolish I have oftentimes been. How gladly would I wash out with my tears every little spot upon your happiness. But oh, Sarah, if the dead can come back to this earth and flit unseen around those they loved, I shall always be near you, in the gladdest days and in the darkest nights, always, always. And if there be a soft breeze upon your cheek, it shall be my breath. As the cool air fans your throbbing temple, it shall be my spirit passing by. Sarah, do not mourn me dead, but think of me as gone and waiting for thee, for we shall meet again. Sullivan Ballou was killed at the First Battle of Bull Run, but I'm sure he found his Sarah at one point when she went on, and I'm sure that before she left to be with him on the other plane, he flitted around her and caressed her cheek with his spirit often. I've heard it said many times that no one is truly gone. Instead, just as Sullivan wrote to his Sarah, they flit around us unseen, always near in the gladdest days and in the darkest nights. I personally choose to believe that sentiment. With my heart and all of my soul, I believe that. It is my truth, the choice I choose, not because I know that it's true with a capital T, but because honestly, it's what makes me feel okay. It helps me feel less lonely or separate from the ones I love that have transitioned into a life beyond my seeing. My father passed 10 years ago after a lengthy illness. We had time with him, time to share and hug, time to laugh and to cry. We had time, but time doesn't make the passing of a loved one easier. You can think you're ready for the moment, but you never are. You're never ready. My brother was killed in a car accident when I was just a month turned 21. One moment here, the next gone. No time to say anything, only time to regret that there wasn't more time. You're never ready. We all have those stories in this room. Everybody that walks this planet has those stories that you don't know from today or tomorrow who you're not going to see. My godfather committed suicide. He loved us, but he lived hundreds of miles apart. People that were there were signs, yes, but they didn't share them with us. One moment here, the next gone. No time to help. No unanswered phone calls to make up. Just regrets and sorrow that perhaps I didn't do enough. You're never ready. So how do any of us make it through this life with all the mountains and the valleys it holds on our path? How do we say goodbye when there really isn't a goodbye to be said? I never read it, and I never heard anybody say it. And at a memorial just last week, I heard a minister say that Jesus never said goodbye. He never said goodbye. And thoughtfully, why would he? He knew he wasn't going anywhere, that he would be indeed flitting around us if we needed his help. And if Jesus isn't your go-to guy, then just call on God. It's the same. God never separates God from us. We do that. And we do a good job of it too. So think about it this way. If God is all there is, if God is all there is, then all there is God. You're God, I'm God, we're God. God is in those we love and those sandpapery people that make us nuts. We all have sandpapery people in our lives, right? So if that's true, if God is everything, then there is no separation. There can't be separation even in death, except the separation that we feel. But we feel it, right? We feel the separation, we feel the regrets, we feel the sadness and all of it. All the why didn't I's and all the what ifs. And those feelings are real. They're feelings to be honored and to be given to God. Before our beautiful dog Macy was diagnosed with cancer, I came to an absolute realization for me that love doesn't die, it merely changes form. That thought has been a tremendous balm to me. It assures me that I haven't been abandoned by death. It doesn't make losing a loved one easier or less heartbreaking, but it has helped me through some of the long nights of grief. I love the song that Andy sang before the talk. I will remember you. Will you remember me? You know, don't let life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. Love the memories. Enjoy the memories. Feel whatever you need to feel, but just be there in that moment. If you need to say, I'm sorry for something, do it. If you don't, praise God, honey, because I've got some of those I need to say I'm sorry to, and I haven't done it yet. I suppose the best way to live is to be present. There's nothing ordinary about any of the moments of our lives. Each moment holds in it the potential for God to show up as us. If we could find that quiet place and allow our hearts to choose to be that potential. When we feel yucky or we feel sad or whatever it is, if we could just allow ourselves to feel that we are the potential of God in us, through us. I'd ask all of us not to wait for tomorrow to reach out to those we love or even those we have problems with. Perhaps there's a family member or a coworker that makes you nuts. If you have one of those in your lives, I have a few. Give them to God. Give the situation to God. Because if forgiveness is calling you, even if it's not, because you're holding strong in your own stuff, give it to God and let the God in you forgive. That way you don't have to do it. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Sort of. Okay. On this Memorial Day weekend, let's spend some time remembering our military and those that have served this country with honor and love. Let's spend some time in reflection of those we love and those that have gone on, and even on those that have gone on that we may still resent. Give them some special attention. Heal yourself, heal your heart. Give that to God and just move forward in life. Make new memories built around love. Be willing for the presence of love to fill your soul, for death leaves a heartache no one can heal, but love leaves a memory no one can steal. And I'd like to ask you now to bring someone very close to your heart, a special someone that's been a friend, somebody that's been kind of crazy with you, that has gone on, that's gone beyond the veil. Just gather that one special person. We'll have time to gather the rest of them in a little while. Gather them into the folds of your heart and think of them as I read the words to this song. Whenever I sing this song, I think about my friend Eric Strom, who taught me how to be spontaneous and silly, to be willing to adventure into imperfection and rise above the mundane into clouds of excellence. These words are for him and for all of those you are holding closely right now. It's called You're There. Our friends all use the past tense when they speak of you. And to make it comfortable, I use it too. They'd soon have me committed if they only knew what I believe with all my heart is true. I know you're there, although I don't know. It's nothing I can prove. I know you're there by just the way the shadows move. And though I've said goodbye and finally let you go, I know you're there, although I don't know how I know. I know you see the crazy things I sometimes do. They make you laugh, so I do them just for you. And while I'm entertaining all the friends we love, I know you see and that you're laughing from above. Don't panic. I'm not consulting any guru, calling psychics, practicing with voodoo. I'm not manic or depressive. I just miss you. So I'll go on enjoying life for all it's worth, because I'm sure you're still sharing all the mirth. And when there's sadness, it's no more than I can bear, because you are and always were and always will be there. And now we are going to do a little closing. I'm going to ask Mark and Jerry, to come forward and pass out. These are ribbons of remembrance. You can see the ribbons on this board over here. The ribbons are for you to write down the names. If you need a pen, there's some more pens up here. If you need a pen, to write down the names of those that have gone on before you that you'd like to remember today. It can be a dog, it can be a cat, it can be anybody that you'd like it to be. It can be those in the military, it can be generalized thank you, it can be whatever you want if you would like to be a part of that. And then after you fill them out, these amazing gentlemen over here are going to play a little soft music, probably while you're doing that. And if you would like to come up, and there's a pin attached to the ribbon, if you would like to just come up and put their names on the board, it's a wonderful thing to do if you'd like to be a part of that. So. closing, I have a responsive prayer I'd like to ask you to join me with. If now you would gather all of those that you have loved within your heart, in your spirit, and just send out a thank you to those people, to the military and all of their families, all the good that we are in this world. Just gather them all up. If you're like me, there's a whole bunch of people you love on the other side. Your part of the response is this: I remember you. In the rising of the sun and the fullness of the moon, I remember you. In the trickling of the stream and the roar of the waterfall, I remember you. In the wave at the edge of the ocean and a raindrop that falls from the sky, I remember you. In the barking of a dog and the meow of a cat, I remember you. In the cry of a baby, in laughing and in music, I remember you. In the crimson colors of autumn and the freshest green of spring, I remember you. In the crackling of frying bacon and the bubbling of cooking soup, I remember you. In the everyday noises of life and in the sacred murmur of prayer, I remember you. We remember you with every breath, every tear, every smile, and every dream. For you, all of you, are a part of us, a part of the who we are as individuals and as a collective. Without you, we could not be us. And without us, there could never have been a we. With a grateful heart, we remember you. And so it is.
Our musicians will lead us into a time of meditation.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? And how deeply you're connected to my soul.
In this moment, there is only God, only peace. Peace alone is real. As we meditate on these thoughts, we shift our vision from the external world and enter into conscious oneness with God. Basking in the presence, remember that there are no persons, challenges, or situations that can disturb our peace-filled soul. As a center for peace, we are able to meet the pressures and tensions of the outer world with grace and ease. Even in difficult circumstances, we turn to the Christ within and maintain our calm. At this very moment, there is only God, and as such, only peace. No matter what events take place in the world or in our lives, we can be a steady center of spiritual strength for all those whose lives meet our own. remember, peace alone is real. Now, as we return our attention to this time and place, let us sing softly together.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. Is in this very room, and so it is.